All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome today to our regional panel with alumni series. And today we are focusing on the South and Southwest region. So this is a new series that we're doing because truthfully, UCLA Executive's MBA program brings students in from far beyond just the Los Angeles region. In fact, about half of the students only live in LA and the rest come from outside the region. So we really wanted to give you, as the prospective student, the opportunity to hear from the alumni. And today we actually have a student as well who's joining, a current student, and really understand why they chose UCLA, especially if it is, that they're coming, in this case, from outside of the California region. So even though some of you today might be calling in and you're more local, that's okay. It's still an awesome opportunity to hear alumni stories and student stories on the value they're getting of the MBA. So as I said, today's panel is going to be focused on the South and Southwest. We do have our East Coast and Midwest panel happening in a few weeks. So keep an eye out for that. That one's happening on October 11th. And we already did a Pacific Northwest one, which we have recorded. So if any of those, vibe with what is relevant to you, please do let us know. And then before we jump into the panel, I just wanted to give a really brief introduction to some elements of the program. I really encourage you, though, if you're looking for a bigger overview of the program, we have a great 30-minute on-demand webinar that we'll send out as a follow-up. And also, it's always good to attend maybe one of our virtual Dean's Preview events, or we have a big campus experience event on October 28th, where we go a lot more in depth into program elements. But today you will definitely have an opportunity to ask questions of the panelists and us. So feel free to use the chat for questions. And some of those we'll save for the panel and others I'll try and answer along the way. Okay, moving on to just introduction to who we all are. Hopefully some of you joining have met with one of us or maybe multiple of us, but this is our team here. We are a team of 5 in the admissions for the Executive MBA, and we really are here to guide you through this process wherever you are in it. So please take advantage of reaching out to us for one-on-one appointments. Debbie does one-on-ones on a regular basis. I do Q&As every Tuesday and Thursday from 12 to 12:30. Feel free to pop into those. We're definitely here to answer your questions and help you along the way. Now, moving on just really quickly, I wanted to let you know that at UCLA Anderson, we actually offer 2 distinct executive MBA programs. We've got the UCLA Anderson EMBA, and this refers to our Los Angeles-based program, and that's what we'll be primarily focused on today for today's panelists as well. But I wanted to mention that we do have a really unique dual degree global executive MBA in partnership with one of the top Asian business schools, the National University of Singapore. So this is a great option if you would benefit from having like an Asia Pacific plus US focused curriculum and network. Our admissions teams this admission team that I introduced to you recruits for both programs because the student profile is very similar as it pertains to work experience and management experience. So both programs do require a minimum of 8 years professional work experience, with the average being 15 years, and a minimum of 5 years with management responsibilities, with the average being 9 or 10. I do want to point out that our definition of management goes far beyond just people management. So also think about if you have management responsibilities over the years, like leading projects or owning budgets as well. So both of these programs are designed for working professionals, and they provide you the benefit of immediately applying what you learn after each class session. And the professors have been some of the first to tell us that you learn just as much from your classmates in this executive MBA programs as you do from your professors. And that's because there's just such a wealth of functional and industry expertise that is present. So this really is a life-changing and unique opportunity. And we're definitely here to answer your questions. So just quickly moving on, probably especially for those of you that may be traveling from outside the region, you're definitely thinking about what is the schedule and how does this work? So both of these programs have a unique schedule. The first one, the Los Angeles-based one, it is a 22-month program. Our next cohort will be starting August 2024. And we actually have 3 different schedule options. One of them is the more traditional Executive MBA schedule, which is bi-weekly. You come every other weekend, Friday evening and all day Saturday. But we have two hybrid programs as well. And both of these monthly and blended require you only to come to campus one weekend per month. That's also Friday night and Saturday. The way that you make up kind of the coursework that the bi-weekly is doing in person is either through on-demand coursework where you log on at a certain time with the blended and with your classmates via Zoom, or there's on-demand content with the monthly. So definitely flexible options that can meet your needs. And then the UCLA NUS Executive MBA program, that starts in May 2024. That is an abbreviated, accelerated program, still has the same core learnings, but just not as much time for electives. And that program, you're traveling once a quarter to different regions of the world. So 2 segments in the Los Angeles UCLA campus, 2 segments that happen on the NUS Singapore campus, and then you're in Shanghai as well as India, either in Mumbai or Bangalore, something we're still determining. As far as the Los Angeles-based program, I did want to ground you a little bit in what the geography is. So as I said, only about half of our students live in Los Angeles. So this is definitely what I would consider a national program, not necessarily a regional program. You can see that we have students coming mostly from the West Coast, but as you'll hear today, we have people that come from Texas. We have people that come from, today on today's call, we've got Colorado, we've got Las Vegas, and we've got Arizona as well. So definitely come from different places. And year to year, this means about 14 to 15 students are traveling from outside of California, and then a few additional who are international, which is pretty typical year over year. And then before we jump into the panel, and you'll hear probably some of the panelists talk about this, but I wanted to highlight the 4 things that I really think make us distinct from other programs, and why many times I hear that students say they're willing to make the trip because of some of these reasons. So one thing is we are cohort based, meaning you will start with the same cohort and graduate with that cohort. So this is usually around 150 students that's split into multiple sections. So your individual classes are usually somewhere between 45 to 70 students for your core and your elective. But what's so unique about Anderson's cohort is we have people coming from such a wide range of industries and functions. And a lot of that is one in the way we recruit, but it's also because the Southern California area doesn't necessarily have one dominant industry, and the way that, our sister school, Berkeley Haas, just tends to be very tech focused. Or I know, looking Raj on the screen, like oil and gas is very kind of dominant down in the Texas region. So really, it's people are coming a lot of times for that diversity of thought. And the way we put together our study groups is with what we call a mini board model. You would be the only one in your study group, and you'll get 3 of these during your time in the program, who would come from your unique industry and functional area. So that really helps with the learning. Also, the ability to customize your MBA. Not every executive MBA program has electives. So if this is important to you and you want to be able to customize beyond the core curriculum, definitely, venture to talk to us about the areas you're interested in. We have a lot of different specializations, everything from global management, tech management, entrepreneurship, finance. These are some of our most popular, but you definitely can take a wide range of electives as a student here, even in the Executive MBA program. Getting to entrepreneurship. So I would say us and MIT Sloan, as far as I know of, are kind of the dominant in the space of really offering a very rich entrepreneurship program. So that means you can take electives, and it even means for your final master's thesis, which many schools have, usually takes about 2 quarters, you can either do a traditional consulting project, which we offer, or about 45% of our students now elect to participate in our business creation program. And this is not just students who are planning to quit their jobs and, start a small company. This is even our students who are in corporate America and are really wanting to know how to start something from scratch. So this is a very, very unique offering that we have, and something that I hear does attract people to the program. Finally, our program is, our school, really, our brand, UCLA, is globally recognized. We actually just came out last week for 7 years in a row. US News and World Report has called UCLA, or ranked UCLA as the #1 public university. Our EMBA program continues to stay very strong in the rankings as well. And we truly have alumni wherever you go. So that definitely is something that we're very proud of here at UCLA. So thank you for that. Now I'm going to hand it over to the stars of the show, which definitely are our alumni panelists and student panelists. And I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Debbie, who's going to moderate the panel. So thank you.
Thank you, Shannon, and welcome everyone. We're so excited to have our panel here today with us, sharing more about their journey as an EMBA student, specifically coming from outside of California. So welcome everyone, and would love to kick it off here just by saying we will have an opportunity after the panel speaks to have a Q&A session. If you've got any pressing questions, you're welcome to put those in the chat, and Shannon and Vanessa will answer those as appropriate. And we certainly will get the insight from the alumni and students today too. And I do want to reiterate, we do have 4 amazing alumni here today and 1 current student. So get your questions ready. But first, we're going to go through and really hear more about their journeys and the decision that they made to come to UCLA from out of state, and given that they probably had many, many choices. And I want to welcome Angela first. Angela, hello and welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. Can you also please start just by saying your name and the year you graduated, and maybe where you came from during the program, and then give us your story, your journey on how you got here, how you made that decision, and what your key takeaways were when we as a graduate and alumni of the program now.
Definitely. So my name is Angela Bay. I am the class of 2022, and I attended the blended program from Las Vegas, which is where I currently reside as well. Let's see, my EMBA journey. It was a lot of twists and turns, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. So I started at MGM Resorts International as Director of Casino Marketing Strategy back when I first applied. And once COVID hit, I realized that I just wanted to do something more with my life. I loved my position at the time, but I wanted to grow out of what I was in. And I knew that if I wanted to ever get out of the industry or even the company, I wanted to do more for myself. And the MBA was the next available option that I thought was viable. It was interesting because when I first started my application journey, I actually didn't think I would be eligible for UCLA. I was still maybe right at the cusp of 8 years, and I thought, oh, maybe the FEMBA program, which is a fully employed program, was better for me. So I actually spoke with Christina, who was on the admissions panel, and asked her, look, these are my credentials. This is my experience. What is the best program for me? And she said that the EMBA program would be the best opportunity. And I'm very, very glad I took it. I was looking at mainly California and Nevada just because of the travel distance. But for me, California, particularly for UCLA, it was just the best program that I could find. And to be fully transparent, I was accepted to both UCLA and USC. But ultimately, obviously, I chose UCLA mainly because they had a more robust program and they were highly ranked. And it's just a place I've always wanted to go to when I was younger. Since then, I have actually gotten promoted. I actually just got promoted yesterday to Director of Product Marketing for the current company that I'm now at. I moved from MGM Resorts International within my first year as an EMBA student over to IGT, and I learned a tremendous amount during my time through my MBA journey. I know Shannon's already mentioned a lot of it, but the fact that you get to have study groups where you can interact with more of your students was fantastic. I had an absolute amazing cohort in my blended section who I've become very close with. And ultimately, that was the best part of it. The biggest value, in my opinion, was the people and connections that you would make, not just through blended, but through all three cohorts that you have. And even though I am in a corporate role, like Shannon mentioned, the BCO, which I think is now called BCP program, was fantastic. I never thought I would ever do business creation or even think about entrepreneurship, but UCLA really broadened my horizons. And my biggest learning is just understanding that I can do anything that I put my mind to. I didn't think I was worthy of the program. I didn't think I was worthy of moving to another position, let alone another company. And here I am today, and I'm very happy that I did it. And long story short, I have some lifelong connections from the group. I've met so many different students from different backgrounds. I see them whenever they visit Las Vegas. I met a couple people when I was out of country in Korea and Japan when I was there for vacation. And some of them are coming to my wedding in a couple of weeks. So you really make these connections for life, and it never goes away.
Angela, thank you so much. And congratulations. That's so exciting. Wow.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I appreciate it.
I know we have a lot of stats on those, promotions and changes and so forth, but it's amazing to see it happening right in front of us. It's so exciting. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. We really appreciate that. And I'm sure we'll pop back to you at the end for some questions. But I would love to ask Aliza to jump in now. And welcome, Aliza.
Thanks, Debbie. Hi, I'm Aliza. It happens all the time. It happened quite frequently over the MBA experience. But I am also the class of 2022. And what brought me to the EMBA program was the class of 2022 started right at the very beginning of COVID. And so it was quite the journey for our cohort in terms of the first year was entirely remote. The second year became not so remote. And what prompted me to apply for the MBA in the first place was because of COVID. I think I'd been thinking about it for a very long time. And then job security became much more of a not a guaranteed thing. And the EMBA provided what felt like a new path forward in my career, and it definitely did that for me. It propelled me in my career. I made, I think, about 3 changes within that time frame, and I'm now the director of e-commerce at Smith Optics, which is an outdoor brand. So I did not change industries like Angela did, but stayed within the outdoor industry and just expanded my scope. What I would say about the EMBA program for me was it was incredibly enriching in building my confidence in terms of how I spoke to my business at work. And then I think it also gave others confidence in me. It just sort of was like a mark of both commitment to myself and to the businesses I was a part of. Where I felt like I stretched the most or learned the most was definitely on the math side. So accounting was incredibly hard for me, but I feel it paying off today even. So it's been a really rewarding journey. I am a working mom. I had a second child during that process. So it was definitely a lot to juggle. Between having 2 young children and also making the trip monthly. I was part of the monthly cohort. And what I will say is probably I didn't get the same sort of social experience, but in return, I did get the academic one, and it was very valuable. And I think that's about it. I'm in Utah, so it was a quick flight to LA. And what made me choose UCLA was, as Angela mentioned, the ranking and its reputation is obviously very appealing. I lived in LA in my 20s and worked in the film industry, so there was a part of me that felt it was somewhat familiar as well, which was nice. And yeah, I think those were my primary reasons.
Thank you so much. That is good to hear. And I love that you mentioned not only the work-life balance, but family and so forth. I know a lot of prospective students come to us with those, questions and concerns. And also the fact that you went back and you were challenged by some of the curriculum and you got through it and you built your confidence through that. That also is a recurring theme. Folks in the EMBA program have been out of school for quite a number of years, many times, and that question of whether you can do it, whether I can be a student again. And maybe we can talk about, after Raj and Siraj talk to us today, talk about that support and collaborative nature of the program. And again, thank you so much, Aliza. And we'll circle back again. So Rajendra, nice to meet you. So excited to hear your story. And if you could just, again, say your name and the year you graduated and where you came from during the program, that would be great. We can't wait to hear your story.
Thank you, Devi. Thank you, Shannon, Christina, and everybody. I don't see Christina, but I'm pretty sure she'll be listening it. My name is Rajendra Ghimire, EMBA 2020. I go by Raj. Primarily after my PhD, most of my work has been focused around water and energy, primarily in the oil and gas industry. So depending upon who is the audience and who is listening, I could be the bad guy as well, because I work in the oil and gas industry and I live in Texas. So if you are looking at me, this is the new version of Redneck Texan, you are seeing it. Anyway, after my PhD, my career moved pretty quickly from the lab to the business side. And then I soon realized that what I was lacking was business acumen. So I decided that I need to supplement on that. I need to sharpen my skills so that I can be equally qualified, being with my colleague and of course, talking with my counterparts, clients, right? That was one reason. As I started growing up on my career, I also started to realize that every industry is different. So I wanted to go and meet other leaders, other professionals from different industries to see how they see change, how they see risks, right? How they view growth. Not only that, how they lead people, how they manage people, how they address challenges, how they react in terms of failures and success when they are dealing with large projects, right? So I wanted to know all of that, the thought process. I'm more of a thought process type of guy. So I kind of felt like MBA, getting a business degree at the right university would be a big plus for me. And then I started looking into different programs. Of course, my need was, I'm based in Texas. So I wanted flexibility because at my role, I was traveling extensively. So the schedule needs to be flexible. The program needs to be outstanding. And I was looking into all of that. And then I stumbled upon UCLA. And particularly, I chose UCLA because I was very peculiar about what type of colleague that I want to be with. Because coming from the oil and gas industry, I did not want to be mostly surrounded by only energy folks. I also did not want to be surrounded mostly by the technology folks or the tech side. I also did not want to be surrounded mostly by the healthcare or the finance folks. So I was looking for a program where I could find all of those in a blended way. And I am so glad that I chose UCLA because it was the perfect mix for it. Not only I was able to fulfill my business acumen, I met some of the best mind and the best heart from varying industries. Today, I have multiple friends in Marine Corps, in Department of Defense, right? In healthcare industry. I mean, we had a neurosurgeon in our class from UCLA. There are a couple of entrepreneurs, business people, there were freelancers, people from entertainment industry, of course, being in UCLA, Los Angeles, sports, you name it. So for me, the biggest learning was not only the education part, but the amount of learning that we were able to get from that cohort type of things, from the mixed blend of industries and their thought process was very important.
Raj, thank you so much. I love that you said the best minds and hearts. That warms my heart personally. And the fact that we have that diversity of thought, diversity of backgrounds, and Shannon had mentioned that earlier, and I just love that comes to life every year, and that we learn so much from each other at the school, and we're able to make changes in our own worlds, the next day really out of class. So thank you so much for sharing your experience, and go Texas. I love it. All right, now we're going to turn to our students. Siraj, welcome, welcome, welcome. Love the hat, love the representation here today. Well, welcome.
I feel sad that I'm the only guy who's rocking the
I know. I know
swag.
what we need to do. We need to do after this session here is send some hats out, I think. So welcome. And as a student, I would love you to also share your background. If you could just start again with your name, your year of graduation, even though it's still coming up, and where you're tuning in from today, and a little bit more about your story as well.
Definitely. Hey everyone, my name is Siraj Pathan. We just finished our first year of my MBA program. We graduated 2024 in June, knock on wood. So I'm a product manager at Cisco. I've been a product manager at Cisco for quite some time, and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. So somebody said, I think I forgot the name. I think it was Angela who said that UCLA was not her primary choice, or she did not expect. And I can relate to that. I had no expectations. I applied 3 universities. Being from Phoenix, I applied for ASU. I applied to University of Arizona, which is closer to me, a 2-hour drive, and then thinking one of those 2 will do. And UCLA was my dream university, right? Like, you apply, but you know you're not going to get into. And then one fine afternoon, I believe it was Christina who called me. I was driving, and I pick up the call, and she goes, "Hey, Siraj, this is Christina, and you got into UCLA." And I hit my brakes super hard. I know I was on Glendale and 51st Avenue, and people stopped behind me because I stopped on the road, and I was super excited to get into UCLA. And since then, it's been an amazing ride. To put it in simple words, I felt like before UCLA, I was looking at the world from a very small hole, right? Like, and I thought that was it. And since UCLA, my field of view, to be honest, grew a lot. I've learned a lot of different things. I agree with what everyone else has said before me. You make great connections. The very first week of my UCLA, I was sitting among all these leaders and entrepreneurs and people who are doing new startups and veterans. And at some level, I was so intimidated at the very beginning, and I thought, like, I gotta go and do things. In multiple ways, it was intimidating and also encouraging that, hey, you gotta be there with these guys, so let's start pushing yourself. And that's what I have done so far at UCLA. UCLA is great, by the way. I got into ASU, I got into University of Arizona, and I could have taken the easier route and gone to ASU. No offense to those Red Devils, but I'm glad I'm a Bruin. I can say that after 1 year. Coursework is great. You can pick and choose. As Shannon was saying or Debbie was saying at the beginning, you can build the course for your need. They call me crazy because I take 3 electives per semester, and I'm sitting at 94 credit hours right now. But you don't have to. You can either take it easy and have the way you want it to be, or you can go crazy like me and do as many courses, which I like to do personally. I joined UCLA hoping that I'll get a good bump in my career, but being among all these people and learning so much in the last 1 year about entrepreneurship and all the other opportunities, I'm looking at my own BCO, BCP route right now. And it's been a 360-degree change about how, as I said, before UCLA, I was looking at the world from a really small keyhole. Now the field of view has gone bigger. I see more opportunities. I see more possibilities and much more. I like to talk, so I'll stop here. If you guys have any questions, I'll post my LinkedIn link here. And if you have any questions or anything, please ping me. I'm a big fanboy of UCLA, so I can provide as much. I can also tell where you can get best coffee on the campus, as well as where the bathroom's located easily.
Thank you so much, Ron. I love how you mentioned the 360-degree change. I think it's really important to know that not everyone comes into the program with an agenda of what they want to get out of it. And that's really the beauty of it, because you are able to explore with those electives. You don't necessarily know who's going to be in your study group. You just know they're going to be from a different background. You don't know who's going to be in the cohort, right? But that first week you're in there in August and getting to know everyone and doing your, assessments and having your team building and so forth. It's a really, I think that begins the transformational journey.
Oh yeah, and one thing about the study group, right? And we have some amazing women in our class, and some of them are having babies as they take classes, and you have to be Superman to the power of 500 just to go through that level of effort. And it's still, they're killing it. They get their assignments before us. They get their work before us. It's I don't know how you guys do it. It's phenomenal. But study groups are really helpful. You can lean on them, especially for someone like me. As I said, like I do 3 electives at least each semester. So my week gets too busy, and the study group is always there. So lean on them. I'm also the academic rep for my class, which was very interesting because, as I said, at the foundational leadership foundations week, I was very intimidated. And as soon as I said, "Oh, there are elections," like I'm gonna do it because I know I'm gonna suck, but I'll still figure out how to do it. And I did it, and I got into academic rep, and that changed a lot. So too many opportunities, way too many opportunities. Like you cannot wrap your hands around. There are so many opportunities to be a leader, to learn new things, change your field, don't change your field, just grow in your field. You can do everything. All possibilities are limitless.
I love it. Thank you so much. Our dean just mentioned that it's like a candy store the other day, and you can't eat all the candy, so you got to pick and choose, right? And especially if you're coming from out of town and you're balancing your life and your work and all your other commitments and responsibilities, it's important to keep that in mind as you're going through the program, so that you feel supported and successful, and you limit the stress and so forth. And it's if anyone on the call doesn't already know this, it is a cohort-based program. It's 22 months, so you go through it with your cohort. So it may seem long now, but it's not. It's very quick. So I would love to thank you again, Siraj. I'd love to open questions up, and if you'd like to either pop them in the chat or come off of mute and just jump in and ask a question, we'd love to open that up to the audience. And if any of the other panelists have any other notes in terms of balancing the travel and the work and so forth, also please feel free to come up and join it as well. All right. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I do know we get a lot of questions about the travel time and being on campus, and even the local people sometimes ask, are you on campus between classes? How does that feel? How does that work? When do you meet with groups and that type of thing? Can any of you kind of give us some insight into working off campus and remotely asynchronously during the program?
Yeah, I can talk about that, both the travel and the working, because as I said, even during my regular work, I was traveling so much. My very first thought was that, will I be able to make at least, because I was the monthly, will I be able to make at least once a month trip and then keep up with all the assignment, with all the courses, right? And actually, I think it was, Siraj mentioned it, the cohort, the group that you form is very, very key, because everybody is willing to help you. And me coming from the technical side and being a PhD and having very little knowledge in finance and economics, I thought I would suck big time, but everybody else just lift me up. And then you'll find within your cohort, they will lift you up. In terms of time management, I mean, as I said, once you are into the program with your heart and mind, you will be able to, you will have to prioritize your schedule as well, both at work, family, and the school, right? So you are already prepared to that. Otherwise, you would not join it. Mentally, you have already made up your mind. It's just about prioritizing those things. There will be lots of ups and downs, because you will be spending a lot of late hours working with your colleagues in your phone and Zoom. So be prepared to have some rocky relationship within family, because we have seen that so many times. Because you'll be working with a lot of smart people, and that comes up all the time as well. At the same time, don't forget to have fun. When I was in college, like the classes were late. I mean, we used to get there sometimes Thursday evening, sometimes like Friday morning, and then catch up with whatever work is due. I was always studying the courses during the flights, making the most out of it, and then reading the assignments during the flights as well. And then you get out there, you meet your team out there, do all the assignment, whatever is left over, make sure you submit on time, go to the classes. Usually Friday nights, they last till I think 9:30 or 10. The food is awesome, by the way. You might gain some weight during the program. They feed you so much.
I second that.
And then after that, believe me or not, I mean, we party pretty hard. I'm not saying that's the right thing for everybody, but we were late pretty much out till late night. And then most morning, you don't want to be me. I mean, we still made to the class, but barely. So we had fun time as well. I mean, bottom line is you will manage time, a schedule, family. So it's a new experience completely. And you will also learn more about yourself and what's important to you when you are managing all of this thing and doing your regular work and being a full-time parent or partner or whatever you are in as well. So
perfect. Thank you. Does anyone else want to, Angela, do you want to speak to kind of the number of hours that you budgeted each week or each quarter for study outside of the class? We do get this question a lot.
So I am a program manager by trade, so scheduling is just embedded into my bloodstream, I guess. So I used to actually block out times on my calendar, my work calendar, saying, okay, these 3 hours are for X, these 2 hours are for Y. So if I had to distill it down, I was probably doing between 5 hours on a really good week to up to 15 to 20 hours on a really busy week. So think about studying for finals, or if you have big exams or projects due. It really depends on the workload and the type of classes you take at that time. I also want to chime in too, just on top of what Raj was saying, with the study groups at the very beginning, you really talk through not only your expectations from one another, but also your time commitments and what you're able to commit and when. And so particularly for those who have to travel in, you talk about those issues. And so a lot of people, if they're on the biweekly side, they can meet on a Sunday in LA and it's totally fine. You can get all your work done within a group in person. But for us who had a lot of different people outside of California, we set a certain time every week. Sometimes it's like 7 to 8 p.m. Sometimes it's, for some people, it actually worked that it was 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. because everyone were night owls. So you really have to work with your teams ahead of time. Make sure you set that schedule, but also be present during that time. And like everyone was saying, as long as you work together and you rely upon each other, there's going to be some weeks where you can give more than other weeks, just based off of your personal life, your work life, everything else. And so leaning on them is key, no matter which group you're with.
Wonderful. Maybe some of you can talk about your choice between, I'm guessing it was monthly or blended, the sections, and or how did you schedule your time, your travel time, etc. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I know, we get a calendar in the beginning of the year, but maybe there's some tricks of the trade that you guys have figured out over the years. I know our last panel, they were talking about their miles that they collected over the time of the program. Aliza?
Yeah, I can chime in. I was part of the monthly cohort, and I would say it was a majority not Los Angeles based, so most people were coming in from somewhere else. In terms of scheduling the travel, I guess I shared upfront with my husband the whole calendar for the entire 2 years, so we could just talk through and plan accordingly. The one thing that I didn't account for that I would recommend as you're considering it is there is like some additional I think they did a scavenger hunt for a day prior. So if you allow for an additional day at the front of every month, usually you'll get some sort of social engagement from that. I think that's primarily it. I would say also the monthly, I don't have stats on this, but it seemed like it had the most parents in the group because they tended to just need the extra time to sort of dictate their own schedules. So that was the benefit there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Anyone else tricks of the trade in terms of traveling and balancing that scheduling?
So I can go next.
Yeah, Siraj, please.
For blended, it was easy, right? Like you network a lot more. I mean, monthly people who don't have time and they have to be in only certain times, that was difficult. But for blended, we meet every other week, and every other week is when we are in person in the class, along with the monthly guys. This gives us a little bit more of lecture time with the professors, right? And a little bit more of that. I if I'm not in front of the professor, I'm not learning, I'm not listening. So I needed that, and that was the bigger thing. And I lived in Phoenix, so it was easier for me to travel if required often. So those are a few things. Travel is still a challenge coming to that part, but I don't think I have to say it again. It's truly worth it.
Thank you so much. Any other questions from the audience? If we don't have any questions, I would love to just ask the panel one more time if there's any takeaways that you want to share with prospective students who are thinking about traveling to the program and UCLA in terms of the benefits and the takeaways that you all had from participating and becoming alumni and almost alumni.
I can chime in there. I would say that every experience and every person is different, and that's something for you to be aware of. You get what you put into it. So if you truly want to learn about the academics, you're going to get a lot of academics out of it. If you go in with the mindset that you want to meet people, you're going to meet a lot of people, and everything few and far between. So I would say, listen to what we say in terms of the experiences that we have, but understand that everything is going to be very individual to you and your needs. And ultimately, I mean, even for me, I was going back and forth with biweekly and blended, but then COVID hit, and that just changed everything. And I'm so glad I chose blended, because over time that was the best option for me. But no matter what cohort you're in, no matter what group you're with, they're all very similar in the sense that you're going to have a range of diverse people on there, and you're going to learn from everyone, and you're always going to have opportunities to meet other cohorts. So don't feel like you're missing out by joining one or the other. Really do what's best for you and your schedule and your personal life, especially if you have a family. That's
Thank you, Angela. Yeah, that flexibility is definitely key, and I think that spills over to the rest of our lives as well, right? Anything else? Otherwise, yes, Raj.
I think I know most people who are already at this stage are already thinking about it. So they have a reason. That's why they are out here as well. And most of the time, those reasons are driven by their purpose. And the gorilla question, the big question, everybody, when it comes to executive MBA is it worth it financial return wise, right? So just like Angela said, everybody's case is different. If you have a reason and a purpose, be honest to it, and you'll achieve it. You cannot compare and look into in a general way saying that was it worth it for me or not based on somebody else, right? Because every case, every individual is completely different. So I would say that if you know your reasons and your purpose, be honest to it, it's totally worth it. The financial return will come if that's your only motive or your objective. But overall, I think the bigger question you need to ask yourself is that what is your reason? What is your purpose down the road, not like 2 or 3 years? You are not doing an executive MBA for the next 2 or 3, 5 years, right? It is a much longer term investment. And are you willing to make that investment and wait for the return as well? Because financial return sometimes does not come up right away. if your motives and objectives are different than somebody else who is are just trying to get a promotion, just like Angela said, she get a promotion. And most people, they have their reasons and their purpose, and they're honest with it, they work it, they get it, right? I can go on rambling, but what I'm saying is that find your reasons, find your purpose, be honest with it. It will be totally worth it if you are honest with it. So.
Thank you, Raj. Yes, knowing your why is important, and I have to agree with you 100%. It's not a 2-year investment; it's really an investment for a life. I can attest to that. I graduated from Anderson a long time ago. So, well, thank you guys so much. Thanks to the panel. Hopefully, we'll be able to share your LinkedIn if that's okay with you to the prospective students today. And I would love to, again, thank you for participating. And I'm going to turn it back to Shannon for a couple last words. And I think we have a couple more slides, but loved hearing your stories today and so appreciate you being
here. Yes, this is always, it's so amazing because all of you started while I was here, and to get to see you graduate and now hear your updates. It's all really, really exciting. So thank you again to the panelists. You're the bread and butter of what we do, because I know how much value it is for the prospective students to hear real world stories instead of just hearing from us all day. So Vanessa, if you want to go to the slide about the application requirements, great. So for those of you that are on and maybe thinking about applying, which we hope you'll move forward, we do have some, our application is open now and open until May 1st, but obviously the sooner you can get it in, the sooner you'll know and can start planning for this, exciting opportunity. And like you heard from the panelists, some planning definitely can help in this process. So as far as the application requirements, just quickly going through these, we have a lot more details on our website that we'll send you the link for, and then of course can talk to you one-on-one, but we do not require an exam. So we got rid of this requirement a few years ago. The reason really is that we always were using the exams to understand where you were from a quantitative standpoint. But as you heard from Aliza, not everybody comes from a quant background. And we just realized that there was, requiring the exams was not the best way to understand where you were. So instead, we actually offer a MBA 7-module self-paced math class that's taught by a UCLA professor. And that is something that we do require if you don't have quantitative background, but it's available to everyone. Aliza took it. Thank you. That's great to hear. And definitely people find that it's a really good preparation. So that's why, please don't worry about taking the exam. However, if you do have undergraduate, if you're undergraduate and you don't have a master's GPA of under 3.0, then do check in with us. You will need to provide your transcripts for any degree bearing. And, that is something we look at, but we can work with you if you've been out of school for a while to show more recent academic success. We also ask for 2 essays to get to know you, your resume, especially to understand your management experience and responsibilities. 2 recommendations. You actually put their information into the application, their email, and we send them a form to fill out, so they don't even need to sit down and write a letter. And then depending on if you were educated outside the US, you may need to take either the TOEFL or IELTS, which are English proficiency exams. Again, check in with us on that. Every single person that we decide to move forward with and eventually admit has had an interview, but it is by invitation only. So then just looking quickly at the deadlines as we wrap up. As I said, we are open right now, so you can go start your application and submit it, and we would get you started in the process. But our people respond to rounds, so we do still have rounds. December 1, February 1, and May 1 is our final round. So please do speak with us and help us, let us help you figure out how to best prepare your application. The next slide, if you are interested in the UCLA and US program, that does have a little bit more of a recent deadline or upcoming deadline. So December 1, and then the last deadline being end of February. So thank you so much. I will definitely say that, if the panelist needs to leave, but if anybody wants to stick around and if there's any prospects who have any questions for admission specifically, we will stick around. But if not, we appreciate you joining today and really look forward to getting to know you better.